Hello and welcome back to the Liberty for Philly podcast. This is episode 21 of the podcast. Once again, joining us is Ben Hoyt, who will be joining us as a permanent resident on this podcast from the now until the end of time. So you now got 3 people instead of your normal 2. So you'll get 1 extra person to talk about every single thing wrong. Okay. So let's just move on. Ben, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic. I love the Phillies are better lucky than good. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Um, they are looking more lucky than good. That's why the trade deadline's coming up, and we'll get to that. But first, we're going to start with your Philadelphia 76ers. The NBA draft is just about a week away. There's some new rumors sticking up about Bradley Beal now being available. Might be trying to force himself out of Washington. Kyle Lowry has once again been linked with the Sixers due to him being close to Villanova. You know, we all know that. I have a prospect. I would really want to see the Sixers draft in the draft next week. So we'll get into that after we start talking about some of these rumors. Ben, so what have you been hearing about the Sixers and their pursuits of players so far this past week?
Well, obviously, looking at the Lillard stuff, it's slowed down a little bit, but it's slowed down for a reason, I think. The Lillard stuff hasn't been exploding.
Mm-hmm.
As it has been. And I think Daryl Morey is a strategist who's going to say, okay, when this Lillard situation gets out of hand, we're going to house like a shark in the water with blood. Honestly. Because once they do that, Lillard's going to try to put the best team possible once he declares he wants. And I think the Sixers will be in the front of that race. However, taking a look, I think Bradley Beal stated that he would be happy for an quote welcome Sixers trade. This could be interesting because that'll bring a nice shooting guard in, and maybe even Maxey could be running the point here.
True. Yeah, if we do bring in Beal in that situation, so obviously Embiid would probably be still your number 5. Then you got Curry, and then you got your Bradley Beal. In that situation, I might look to probably move Thibault into the starting lineup or try to move Harris for a real point guard, because it's just a very weird thing. Because like with Curry, he popped off in the playoffs. I really do believe he should stay in the starting lineup. Bradley Beal's once again a great player, and then you got Embiid. That leaves your 2 spots open. Obviously, a Curry or Beal will move into that small forward role, and then you still have your power forward and point guard position. So in that case, you would have to look around the league and say, is Harris going to be able to get me a point guard of some sort? Can it give me a good power forward? Say Kristaps Porzingis from the Mavs. That's a good interest. There's a lot of directions of this where this team can go in the coming weeks.
There sure is, and the only problem I have with shipping off Tobias is really that it brings me back to that Raptors playoff series where they had Jimmy Butler, they had Simmons, and they had Embiid, and that's enough. But yet they still lost to the Raptors, and I just don't think. I think the issue there was depth. Remember, like who the big man coming off the bench that series, Mitchell?
Mike Scott.
Not even that. Marco Bellinelli.
Oh yeah.
So you can clearly see that him, Boban Marjanovic, that's just quite not enough depth. And I like Harris on this team for depth at the starting, small forward position. So that's my only problem with it. And then I would look to shift out some of these bench players to get more depth at the bench for better bench players.
Yeah, totally agree with you on that. It's just one of those things that I think Porzingis and Bede would be great paired together. In all means, I wish that we can keep Tobias in this lineup. It's just the fact if you add one of Lillard or Beal, one of them would be forced to play that point guard role. And it is just one of those things that you just have to decide if they are capable of doing that. and then hopefully you can keep Maxey and Thibault for your defensive way, and then like because with Ben leaving, Porzingis is great on defense. Embiid's also great on defense, but if you add Thibault into that starting lineup, you would be lockdown defense, and then you would have say Curry and Beal or Curry and Lillard in that starting five,
Well,
which would be very
well, let me ask you this. Realistically, we're probably only getting one of them, right? So
yes,
in the instance that we get Dame Lillard, Simmons is going with him. There's no doubt about that. Simmons would need to leave.
yes, Simmons is
But
gone.
then if we don't shift anyone out of our starting lineup, what would that leave? So it'd be Lillard at the point, Curry at the
Yes,
shooting guard, Thibault at the small forward, maybe if he's not shipped out. Then
yeah.
Tobias at power forward and Embiid. I don't think you have to do that much, like you're not to downplay your point, but I don't think you have to do that much, like you're saying.
Yeah, I'm fine with Tobias there. It's just more of a fact I'm concerned about the defensive thing. I've liked Porzingis when he was in New York. I thought the Sixers should have pursued him when he was having that huge fallout with the Knicks. At the time we had no capital, and plus with whoever
Yeah.
was running the organization did not know how to make a trade at that point, so I didn't trust it with anyways. Um, it's just a thing. We're gonna have a very small, like going from a huge lineup that we had last year to kind of a small ball lineup is gonna be a kind of a change of eyesight. So that's kind of why I'm thinking that possibly a Porzingis move could be, but most likely it's probably not going to end up happening. If Harris is traded, it's going to be for a huge star player in that case. So most likely it's probably going to be Beal or Lillard would be your point guard next year if you do make those trades.
Again, I think the rumors and ESPN has to explode first before the Six make any moves. I
Agreed.
think Daryl Morey is playing this smart for the moment, and we're gonna have to see. I think the media is gonna do so much for the trade, honestly, because once
Mhm.
the ESPN rumors start around and the players they take their press conferences and they say stuff, Morey will absolutely pounce on that, and that's how he got his stars. I mean, he got Harden that way, he got Paul that way, and I think he's gonna get Lillard that way.
Yeah. One thing that really kicked up the rumors again today, Shams Charma on Twitter tweeted out that the Sixers are still in the lead to sign and trade for Kyle Lowry to be their point guard. Then again, that would be in a case of which Ben Simmons will be leaving the organization, or he could just move to the actual power forward role. And but then again, he would be losing another person in that lineup. What would a lineup look like with Ben and Lowry both in it? So it would be like basically what we imagined it would be at the trade deadline last year, and we all got George Hill instead.
To me, that's the last resort option. So I hope my answer is non-existent, to be
Agreed.
completely honest,
Yeah,
because hopefully we get Lillard Beal, and that's your one and two options. Which, by the way, for one and two options, it's
those
pretty
are pretty
good,
good.
right?
Yeah,
Um, so, but taking a look at Lowry, I think they would do what you would be saying is put Lowry at the point, treat Simmons as a pure power forward inside the paint because do you know why? He's not forced to shoot anymore. He's just forced to bully
but then
people,
again,
and
he
I think
doesn't
that's
dunk
what
the
he's meant
ball
to.
when he's wide open. So I mean, would he even be?
So that's something he would have to learn. But yet, there rises the question: is he coachable? That's
Yeah.
one question we've been asking for years. But supposing he does dunk on people, put him on the power forward position. I always look at the positives here.
Hmm.
And then put Embiid at the center position, two people in the paint, but yet it forces two or three people that can shoot in Lowry, Curry, and Harris. It's a well balanced lineup.
Yeah, totally agree with that. That would be really well balanced. Then again, if you don't think Ben is going to be worth it, I would say try to trade him out. Even if you do get Lowry, trade him out. Say in that case, you could be open to trading him to Dallas for a power forward and Chris Porzingis, or
Well,
say a different
let,
team.
let me bring you one thing, and would never happen. Pascal Siakam once out of Toronto via recent
True.
reports.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to ship out Simmons and make a big trade for Lowry and
I
Siakam,
think Raptors said they were interested in Ben, so this is totally still a possibility on the
it's
table.
a possibility, low possibility. You have to make a mega trade for that, but the possibility
Yeah.
to get both Siakam and Lowry, two key points for the Raptors coming to Philly. And I know Lowry wants to come to Philly. But first of all, I don't think this Villanova stuff holds water. I mean, I think Lowry wants to come here because we win, and that's the period.
Agreed.
He wants another chip. And then
But I have,
Siakam,
I
I
was just
think
saying,
he'll also,
yeah,
yeah, I think he'll also come here because of a ring.
yeah. I was just gonna say that I have full trust in Daryl Morey. No matter what happens, I still think he has trust to it. I kind of it took a hit when we traded for George Hill. Then again, in that situation, it looked like they were close to Lowry. However, in the end, it looked like we would have been giving up Thibault and Maxey and a lot of first round picks. So in the end, it was a great move. But in the end, George Hill did not come to fruition for the team. Doc Rivers had to play him too much, and I don't think that was a good idea. Um, but yeah, it's a very interesting situation going on right now.
Yeah, George kind of fell flat. That's the risk of making a trade for an older dude is sometimes his body wears down, and that obviously looks like George Hill didn't play, with enough vigor like we've seen him play in the past. Had trouble in traffic, but
Mm-hmm.
could still shoot a little bit. It just didn't pan out. But at the move, like giving up Thibault and Maxey to the Raptors for Lowry and stuff like that, that's a horrible trade. So I you know what, I'll give Moore his props for that one.
Yeah, totally agree with that. There's a lot of people are still saying that. I'm just scrolling on Twitter right now, and
Yeah.
some French people just tweeted out, "What teams do you think these players are going to be at?" And then it said Lonzo, DeRozan, Beal, Anthony, Lowry, Kawhi, Dame, CP3, Simmons, Russ, Fournier, Dragic, Collins, and Dinwiddie. And this one person said that Lonzo would go to the Bulls, DeRozan would go to the Knicks, Bradley Beal goes to the Sixers, Anthony to the Lakers, Lowry to the Pelicans, Kawhi to the Clippers, Dame to the Blazers will stay there. And it says, quote unquote, trade in December. Then Suns, CP3 stays. Ben Simmons goes to the Spurs in a three-way trade between this. No, it'd be a four-team trade between the Knicks, the Sixers, the Washington Wizards, and the Spurs. And then Russ that goes to the Lakers, and then Collins goes to the Spurs, and Dinwiddie goes to the Knicks.
I'm confused how that would work. Within the 14 trade, Simmons would be for Beal. We would get Beal in return, you say?
Yeah, so basically in that situation, we would get Beal in that situation, and yeah, Dinwiddie and DeRozan would go to the Knicks, and Collins would go to the Spurs along with Ben Simmons.
These 14 trades, I just don't feel like are the most realistic. They don't happen a lot. But,
Yeah,
if this 14 trade was going to happen, I mean, Pop needs someone bad. And I mean, Simmons may be a candidate for him. I like this guy too. I think that sounds like an interesting scenario for all these teams.
mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just gonna be interesting. This so far for Philly sports this year, it has been very because a lot of teams, our teams are all in winning stakes, except well, the Eagles are just gonna be the Eagles. But then again, that's a good thing because we're not expecting them to. We're not having high expectations for them. I mean, but for the Sixers, Flyers, and Phillies, they have all been given a lot of high expectations due to the amount of people who are running their organization. The Phillies now have Dave Dombrowski. The Sixers now have Daryl Morey. The Eagles have Howie Roseman, so he's kind of the odd man out. Chuck Fletcher's kind of working his way towards the positive side with what he's done. We'll get to that at the end of the episode. But I just have full trust in what Daryl Morey will do for this team in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got to trust the process. This is what it's been leading up to. I mean, Maury's one of the top GMs in the game for as long as we've been alive. Honestly, I can put him in that category. With the stars he got. I mean, remember, the Rockets had Dwight when Dwight was still Dwight.
Yeah.
So, and then he got Dwight back on the Sixers, which he was a key piece aside from the technical fouls and stuff like that. You know what? I've complete trust in him. He gets stars, and he gets stars to sign immediately. I'm looking to see who we get, and I think this is the final step in the process.
Yeah, totally agree. One thing before we transition into the trade deadline, DEFCON 2 of the Philadelphia Phillies right now. I really do think by next week the Sixers will not have a first round pick in next year's this coming year's draft. I do believe it'll be shipped off in some way. Hopefully it's for a good thing. And One prospect I really want the Sixers to draft is Luka Garza from Iowa. He was an outstanding player during his time in Iowa. I still believe he would be a great backup to Embiid and be a good power forward for the future for the team.
So my funny story on Luca
Oh no.
Garza. I have a funny story about Luca Garza. I'm a Penn fan, right, Mitchell?
Yes, we
You
know
Penn.
that.
So Penn State rented the Palestra for a day. What because they play in the Palestra once a year, UPenn's
Yes.
home gym.
Mhm.
And that time it was Iowa. And this was a couple years ago before the pandemic. This guy goes off on Penn
Mhm.
State. Penn State still wins the game. However, this is like with Mike Watkins and Lamar Stevens. This guy
Yeah.
scores like 30 plus points and absolutely dominated people in the paint. I mean, Mike Watkins is a big dude, but he was nothing compared to this dude.
Yeah.
And it was Luca Garza. This man was an absolute animal. And you know what? I think if he can get his shooting game together, he can translate really well in the NBA.
Yeah, it says here that the Sixers brought him in for a workout, and says Sixers have set their eyes on Luka Garza in the second round of this coming year's draft.
Yeah, the only problem is his whole game is dependent on the post up game and just bullying people in the paint. You get a guy like Joel, you get a guy like even Andre Drummond, like
Yeah.
this guy, solid defender. He's not going to get bullied by this man. Like this guy,
Just imagine a lineup of Dame, Curry, well, Seth Curry, not Steph Curry, um, Thibault, Garza, and Embiid. Imagine that lineup.
yeah, I would be happy again if Garza has a shooting game, unlike
Yeah, he has to
Simmons.
work on it. Yeah.
He needs to work on it because again, putting in the Andre Drummond situation, he's not going to bully that man because, like, honestly, Drummond is 7'2", 7'1", 7 foot,
Hmm.
and he's strong. He's literally a brick wall, and he's going to have a hard time at the height he's at because I think he's a little short of a power forward. Is he like 6'9"?
Let me look. That seems pretty nice if you ask me. But Luca Garza is
I thought he was a shorter power forward.
22 years old. He's 6'11",
He's six
shy
eleven.
underneath 7 feet, 243 pounds.
Yeah, he's a little shorter for a center, but like again, I don't think he's going to be bullying these NBA players, so he needs to have a shot just in case he can't.
They're saying that he's been in the gym working on his jump shot, trying to get it up. And he
That's a
said,
good thing.
from what I saw from what Keith Pompey said in the his tweet on the situation, he said he looked really good. It still says that the Sixers are going to try to pick him up at their 50th overall pick because Garza right now, even though he was voted the best national basketball player last year, he's only projected to go 55th in the draft. He's ranked 55th out of the prospects, 60 top prospects. So
And that's where I would
yeah.
put him, honestly, because that feels right. Because again, this is a guard-driven game nowadays. I mean, I took a look at an article where the Rockets at one point didn't have a guy I think about 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", and that was
Mm-hmm.
PJ Tucker.
Oh
And
yeah.
and taking a look at where the game is nowadays, you don't really need a dominant power forward at center unless it's a guy like Jokic, Embiid, Porzingis, etc.
Yeah.
I don't think he can be that dominant, and with a missing jump shot that a power forward needs to have nowadays in the NBA, it feels right.
Yeah, I totally agree. Ben, before we transition to the Phillies, let me send you this tweet I just got from
Okay,
Luca Garza's dad. This is from 23
we're
hours ago. And he says that Garza will be a 55% 3-point shooter in the NBA. And this is a tweet of him working out from the corners, and he's splashing them unlike Ben Simmons,
let me.
unlike Al Galore.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But let's take a look at this. I saw a video recently of Giannis Antetokounmpo absolutely draining half court threes with ease. I mean, an NBA player that is of talent does not make missed shots in an open gym.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my problem is when he's one on one against a power forward or a small forward that's putting a hand up, like what does he do? Does he absolutely drain the three or does he hit the rip? My
Yeah.
guess my guess is I think he will be a solid 37% shooter in the NBA.
And that's a whole lot better than Ben Simmons.
Yeah. I don't think he'll be great, but I think he will make shots. You would have to guard him.
Agreed. Now that was our Sixers section of the podcast. If you would like to leave a comment down below about what else you would like to hear about the Sixers on coming episodes, please let us know. Now we're transitioning to the team of the hour, the Philadelphia Phillies. The Philadelphia Phillies are back at 500 for the 12th time, I believe, this season. They are 49-49, and they are officially 4 games back of the New York Mets due to Toronto Blue Jays not knowing how to pitch like the Phillies bullpen. But it's going to be a crazy trade deadline, to say the least. This one guy has been getting a lot of stuff on Twitter because he literally came out of nowhere. He's like a Cash App guy. He came out of nowhere, but he's been coming out with a lot of leaks. This is like source, dude, trust me, bro. This is a source, like, trust me, guy and a guy. But like, he's gotten some of the things right, and it's interesting. Here's one tweet before we get into everything. Also, before we get into it, kind of a little breaking news. Bryson Stott has officially played in a double A game for the first time in 2 days after being pulled along the same day as Johan Rojas, as Philadelphia Twitter went crazy, as they believe a trade was coming soon, but it did not. But it says here from him, he says the Phillies remain as the front runner for club's closer Craig Kimbrel. I'm hearing that other teams have gotten the message as well, and it seems as if at the moment Kimbrel will be a Philly before the deadline. Other teams have started to pull out their offers. And then furthermore, we got he says possibility Bryant still might be included with Bryson Stott and Johan Rojas. At the moment, it says Kimbrel to Phillies looks like it will be happening. Whether Bryant will be included, we do not know. And it says Phillies also have interest in Byron Buxton, and that's where it tails off.
Okay.
Out of those couple, who would you want in that?
Well, before I get into who I want to talk about Dave Dombrowski for one little moment. I found an article today from TC Zenko, which I found very interesting, about Dave Dombrowski. He spoke with Todd Zalecki of MLB.com. And basically, he said that the Phillies are kind of open to anything. And that's good, because they're going to be very aggressive at the trade deadline. Now, in terms of who I want, taking a look at some of the trade rumors on this site, I would like Byron Buxton.
Agreed.
And I'll explain why. Not only do we get a crazy fast center fielder who can hit.
Better Roman Quinn. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was about to bring in that point. Roman Quinn is crazy fast and gets steals like crazy. But he's literally Ben Revere at the plate, if you remember Ben Revere.
Yeah.
But along with Buxton, you could get the Twins reliever Caleb Thielbar, who apparently has been solid this year. And he's been tied with Phillies rumors as well. So you can get those two in a package, send some people away, and then you got 2 solid pieces that could help, bandage the Phillies organization for the year.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree with you on that. Then again, this is just all developing now as it became relevant that Byron Buxton rejected a 7-year, $80 million contract extension from the Minnesota Twins today. And this is from the sauce man himself, John Heyman. John Heyman has said, he just tweeted out something again. Let's see what he has to say here. Once again, Phillies are front runners for Byron Buxton, as he said a while ago. However, it says here that the Twins will listen to offers on Byron Buxton, but with a year to go of control, it's far from certain that he will be moved. Philadelphia is once again the team of interest of the team. So if you got to think the Phillies would go after Byron Buxton, you would think they would also have to try to go for Jose Barrios, who has been really outstanding for the Twins so far this year.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I would like a bullpen piece as well, like the guy I mentioned.
Yeah.
Because this bullpen probably is one of the worst in history, to be completely honest. And I would say I'm overstating it, but at some point, the blown saves and the blown games that these people have.
Our team would have 60 wins. Fun fact, have 60 wins if we did not blow any saves so far this year. So which is
yes. So in fact, taking a look today, our closer was Ranger Suarez. Do you know what we were saying about Ranger Suarez 2 years ago?
He would be
Get him,
yeah.
get him out. Because honestly, I don't know if he's just having a great season so far and he's putting on a mask of himself, but I honestly, this can't hold up. Ranger Suarez can't be your best piece in a bullpen. I'm sorry. I feel like Neris needs to go. Once Sir Anthony comes back and needs help, but we need another bullpen piece. And maybe if you don't trade Vince Velasquez, maybe give this bullpen experiment a second chance.
That's kind of where the thorn in my side is. Phillies announced today that Vince Velasquez will be the starting pitcher on Thursday if he's not
No,
dealt.
no.
However, so we kind of do know if Vince Velasquez is not starting on Thursday, he's being moved because that's the day of the trade deadline, or he could start before the trade deadline at 3 o'clock. But we tried the bullpen. I just don't. Vinny V. The experiment's gone on long enough. We held on too long with Nick Pivetta. A change of scenery has done great things for him. I say we send him to Boston along with Nick Pivetta, and hopefully he becomes a great pitcher up there because I don't want him here anymore.
We were talking about the Marlins, at one point
Oh yeah, we
during
were
the
talking
show.
about with Marte. Yeah, the
But
Marte deal.
I don't know if it's just for Marte or just prospects in the Marlins farm system. I either way is fine with me. I think the Marlins could really use them. I went to the game a few weeks back, and besides Sixto Sanchez and
That
Pablo
trade
Lopez,
has not worked out well. That
yeah,
JT Realmuto trade at all.
yeah, it just there's guys I've never heard of. And they could use some bullpen depth if they want to put Vince there, and you can also use him as a starter. There's flexibility with him, just not good flexibility.
Yeah. Vince Velasquez. Well, that's again, you'd risking trading him to inside the division and him destroying the Phillies for years to come, along with the Marlins. That would be
No,
kind of a double whammy.
but that doesn't happen because
It doesn't happen.
I'll
Yeah.
explain why. Like now that you say that, it's just even with Vince's good start, and I did see Vince's good start. There's an inning where he just explodes into pieces, and then he'll get himself back. But 2 runs come with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just there's no way that Vince Velasquez replicates a 5 inning no score inning that often.
Yeah. It's like we were just talking before the show. If you, well, I'll restate it here. The Phillies have about 20.6 million in dead cap. Let me tell you why. In Hector Neris, Brandon Kinsler, Matt Joyce, Chase Anderson, Matt Moore, then Vince Velasquez and Chase Anderson. All of them combined equal to about.
You said
I said
Chase
it twice.
Anderson twice.
Well, I don't know. He disappeared and somehow came back to life today. So I'm just gonna say that. 20.6 million. If you add in our good friend Abdul Herrera, that's about 26 point. That's $27.2 million. $27.2 million, in which 4 of that could have been used on Marcus Simeon rather than Didi Gregorius. Could have been used on who's another good pitcher who was a free agent this year. There's so much more room in this team that could have happened.
Right, but to give Middleton a little bit of credit, Gregorius was having like a breakout. I don't know
He
if it was
had a great
breakout
year last year, but I think it was because of the DH. I think the defense, he's really.
Oh, he's a terrible defender. That's the only problem with
I think
him.
the Phillies were really banking on with that contract. The DH would come this year, or at least hopefully come next year. That's hence the 2-year contract. Because I do believe the Phillies will go out and try to explore the free agent market for shortstops next year.
Yeah.
It's becoming more and more likely that possibly this Bryson Stott might be traded to Washington or Colorado for Trevor Story or Trey Turner. But then again, those may or not happen. It's a weird situation. Next year, I can see the Phillies trying to go after, say, if we do get Chris Bryant, or we'll need a new left fielder. Can McCutchen, I do not believe, can stay here on a $19 million contract. Justin Verlander could be a possible free agent addition next year with Dave Dombrowski here at the helm. He might want to come pitch for the Phillies in his swan song, probably almost final season. But it's just interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because we don't want a guy that just comes here for 1 year and then leaves. That's the risk you take for going after these big stars. Like I feel like Buxton is only have 1 year on his contract.
Yeah, he has another year after this. We would have him for a year, and then we would have to do extension talks with him.
Yeah, so I don't know if he would want to stay, and you know, it's just very difficult because I can see a situation where the Phillies get absolutely nothing.
Yeah, you just gotta see if I'm the Phillies, I'm talking with the agent saying, okay, we're interested in your client. However, would he want to stay here if we were to pay this much for him? Same with Chris Bryant. Bryce Harper's friends with them. Scott Boras is his agent. So they got agents and friends. You can kind of gauge, like, say Bryce Harper's like Dave Dombrowski gives Bryce say, hey, we're looking at Chris Bryant. Do you think he would want to stay here if we were to pay the price for him?
Yeah,
And
no,
Bryce could be either like, maybe, yeah, sure, he'll definitely want to stay here if you give him the right money, or he could say like, nah, he's just gonna be a rental. He probably wants to go to a different team. And then after that, like, I wish teams would communicate more with the players and the agents themselves to see if they can gauge interest. Because like some of the like Manny Machado, the Dodgers were after him. They traded for him, and I don't think he wanted to stay in LA after what happened in the playoffs there. But like, it's
no.
just an interesting situation.
The only thing that I would like to say about the Bryant situation is that Scott Boras can be a menace to baseball
Mm-hmm.
because it's not about teams, it's not about winning, it's all about money with Boris.
Money.
Whoever pays that man the most will
We'll
get
get
his
him.
client.
Mm-hmm.
So that the whole Bryant deal is going to be based upon lots and lots of money,
But
and
yeah, and then you gotta
yeah,
probably think, what players does Boris represent?
bunch of them. I wouldn't be surprised if he represented Stott either because he's buddies with Harper.
Yeah, let me look. Scott Boris clients. Here we go. Every ranked Garrett Cole, Max Scherzer, Cody Bellinger, Juan Soto, Bryce Harper, um, Steven Strasburg, Corey Seager, Chris Bryant, Xander Bogarts, Jose Altuve, Anthony Rendon, JD Martinez, Jackie Bradley Jr., Mike Moustakas, Julio Urias, Josh Bell, Michael Conforto, James Paxton, Sean Manaea, Hyun Ryu, and the list goes. Yeah, he was Reese Hoskins too, Joey Gallo, Jake Arrieta. We all know how great of a player he is.
Yeah, but this man is the most powerful agent in baseball by far.
Yeah, he is.
And again, it's wherever his client will get paid. That's where his client is going because it doesn't care about like heat and warmth or the coldness or the stadium. No, it's about money, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to keep tabs on the Bryant situation because if the Phillies are going to take more than pocket change out of their pocket for him, sure, absolutely. I'm a fan of Bryant, but again, I would take Buxton if it's for Barrios and a relief pitcher, and it's for a lesser price.
Yeah. I still believe the Phillies need to win at least tomorrow's game and the game after that, especially Wheeler's next start, if they really want to be fully committed. If they win these next two games, they will be 51-49, so they'll be over 500. The Braves and the Mets have a 5-game series going into the trade deadline. They have a doubleheader. They have a doubleheader tomorrow. Then they have 2 home games after that. I have 3 home games. So it's very possible the Mets could be 2 games, like only have a 2-game lead going into Wednesday here in the National League East.
Right, but if the Braves win a bunch of games with the Mets, do they pass us? Because we split with them
So that's
today.
the thing. We want to be Braves fans in the situation. However, we have to win games ourselves. So then
Right,
again,
but do we
yeah.
trust that happening? Like honestly, because we took two out of four from the Braves, which simply is not enough if we want to
Well,
contend.
the Nationals did just get swept by the Baltimore Orioles, though.
Yeah,
So
but they're the Nationals; they're not going to be contending.
true.
It's all about New York and Atlanta, and not as much Atlanta. It's about New York. So I'm not a fan of the Blue Jays today. They didn't do what they needed to do, and you know, we need to win games that the when the Mets are losing because we can't trust them to keep we can't trust the Phillies to keep consistently winning and hoping for the Mets to lose. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just looking at these tweets I just found out. It says that a lot of people are saying that the Phillies really need to win the first three games out of this, and then hopefully by Friday when we place the Pittsburgh Pirates, a lot of people are saying we need to sell or like we don't deserve to be buying. Let me say this: we have the easiest schedule in the National League in the second half. We haven't played the Baltimore Orioles or the Pittsburgh Pirates yet this year. We are only 4 games back of the New York Mets, who have the second hardest schedule in almost all of Major League Baseball going into the second half. If that doesn't say you're still in this, please go out and buy some things. I don't know what else is, especially with Dave Dombrowski at your helm. Like, I don't know what you're doing.
But again, I had another guy from Unwrapped. We had a
Mhm.
conversation. Shout out to the Unwrapped Sports Network, something I'm a part of. Um, he's saying, the Phillies are, a sputtering engine. We have to run a car race on a sputtering engine, and we have just so many problems that do you really trust this, broken car of a Phillies team to really win a division against the Mets, who will be getting DeGrom back. And
Lindor
then,
back at some point, and
yeah, and
then
Carrasco as well.
see that's the thing. If I'm the Phillies, I'm looking at this saying, all right, Degrom might be getting injured again. Lindor might get injured again. Carrasco hasn't pitched all year. The thing is, you should be buying as soon as possible so you can get as many games ahead of the healthy Mets getting back into the race. So, say by the end of the week with the Pittsburgh Pirates, there's a possibility the Phillies can be in first place if they make the right moves and the Mets don't know how to play baseball. It's completely possible.
No, it's totally possible because they're low Mets, but just taking a look, you know, people don't get injured that often. Once they get injured once, it's very rare they get injured a second time, especially if a different injury. Same injuries we can see, but I think Degrom will be fine. Lindor, I think, will be fine. And like, if the Phillies don't get their act together soon, the Mets will have their car fixed, and we're gonna get lapped.
Yes, that's the thing. We need to do something. If we, so tomorrow is, I believe it's Spencer Howard's pitching.
Oh boy.
And then we got Zach Wheeler. And
Okay.
then we got Vince Velasquez. Nope.
Oh boy.
Wait, no. We got Matt Moore and then Vince Velasquez. That's 3 bullpen games with one Wheeler game in between them.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't say get a starting pitcher, get Vince Velasquez out of here and get some bullpen arms in an offensive bat, I don't know what else says.
Well, especially that the one game could be a lost cause because the Velasquez game, the Washington starters to be determined, but depending on the health of this person, it would be Max Scherzer.
Yes, and
So,
then yeah, they were talking about that today, saying Scherzer might not even be on the team on Thursday. Same with Velasquez. So
right. So, but if assuming Scherzer stays in Washington and Velasquez stays in Philadelphia, which is a very unlikely scenario, but it could happen, it
yes,
would be a Scherzer versus Velasquez matchup. Is that a probable matchup? No, absolutely not. So that seems like a game we'll lose. You have to win the two other bullpen games in the Wheeler game just to stay afloat.
I do believe off of momentum, I think we will win tomorrow and Tuesday. The Matt Moore game and the Thursday game really scare me. Matt Moore coming off a very poor outing after having a couple great starts. Not gonna lie, but he's coming off a poor start, and then Thursday is the last game before the deadline. So I think first pitch is at noon. Trade deadline's at 3, so there's a possibility the game could be over or end prior to the deadline. So it's a very confusing. It's gonna be a very weird week because like you can't judge when the bubble's gonna pop here. There hasn't been really any major trades as expected. Joey Gallo might not even be traded. He's in contract extension talks with the Rangers prior to probably Wednesday. If he doesn't get a contract done by Wednesday, the Rangers will probably try to ship him out. But if on that note, you just can't say like when the Bryant trade's gonna happen, or the Buxton trade, or the Gallo trade, or the Scherzer trade. You can't judge that when it's gonna happen.
My guess is that it's this Thursday, right? Trade
Uh,
deadline.
it is July 30th at 3 p.m. So yes, that is Thursday. Yep. Nope. Friday. Wait,
Wait.
I'm confused. When is the trade deadline?
Okay, so it's this week. It doesn't matter when the
It's
date is.
next Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, July 30th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, so I'm expecting stuff to explode as early as Tuesday, but no later than Thursday. Maybe
Yes.
going into Friday. That stuff is going to be an absolute mad rush to get players. Phones will be ringing through the roof. And I think we're going to just have to stay tuned. I think we could check in, you know, and I'm sorry, we can check in at Tuesday because I think
I think like probably this week we will probably be doing a normal. Actually, Jared, as you may have known, has been
he's
on
coming
vacation
back.
this entire year, month. He's returning, and then he's immediately going on vacation again this weekend. So therefore, we will have probably an emergency trade deadline podcast Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, I would be very
Yeah.
surprised if stuff happens before that podcast. If something happens Monday, someone's very desperate for a player, which
Or
could
they
happen.
like it was a great offer. Like they're like, okay, we can't wait. Like say the Phillies are like, okay, we need to take advantage of the Nationals. Buy. Here's Spencer Howard. Take him. We don't want him anymore.
Right.
Like
Again, I think stuff will be going on when we're having that podcast Wednesday.
yes, I totally agree with you. Still no updates on the trade. No rumors have came out since the Buxton thing. I'm trying to find my. Yeah, I lost it. But let's see what the schedule is right now for the Phillies. So tomorrow, obviously, it's Spencer Howard versus who's pitching for the Nationals tomorrow?
I know if it's Eric Fetty the next day, then Patrick Corbin.
Oh, the guy that we made look like Jacob DeGrom the last time we played him when he had like a 70 ERA.
Yeah. Well, Patrick Corbin's my fantasy.
Oh, Joe
pitcher.
Ross. So we have Joe Ross
Yeah.
tomorrow for 5 for 8 4.02 ERA. Then
Not
Tuesday, then we have Matt Moore. I mean, we have Spencer Howard pitching. Oh, I mixed that up. Tuesday is Matt Moore with his 5.79 ERA. Then Wednesday we have Zach Wheeler. Then Thursday, which I thought was going to be the trade deadline, but I have been mistaken. Thursday it is going to be Vince Velasquez, hopefully not, versus probably Max Scherzer if he's not dealt. And then Friday we play the Pirates in Pittsburgh at 7:05. So we might have a new team by 7:05 on Friday.
And hopefully a new team hitting wise. I mean, look at today's game. The Phillies got really lucky with two solo shots against one. I mean, that's not going to happen every time. The Phillies need to get their hitting act together because that just came to a halt. But again, you're facing a guy with a 4 ERA and Joe Ross. Then you're going to be facing the Pittsburgh Pirates. Even Patrick Corbin hasn't had that great of a year.
Yeah, here's the Phillies schedule over the next. If this doesn't say bye, tell me. All right, Washington Nationals. They have fallen off a cliff. They just got selected by the Orioles, as we said. We played the Pittsburgh Pirates, then the Washington Nationals again. Then we played the Mets, Dodgers, Reds, Diamondbacks, Padres, Rays, Diamondbacks again, and then Washington. And then Miami, Milwaukee, Rockies, Cubs, Mets, Orioles, Pirates, Braves, Miami. That last couple weeks, Baltimore, the Cubs, the Mets, Pirates, Braves, the Marlins. Possibly 1, 2, 3, 4. Every one of those teams will be under 500, including the Rockies. And the only team in September and early October that will be playing with an over 500 record, it's most likely the Mets and the Brewers. So then again, September has always been a horrible month for a Phillies fan. Can't really say much other than that, but like,
what's the thing that Jared likes to say though? Out of his many phrases, what's the one thing he likes to say?
Oh God, what is it?
When they play down to their
If
competition.
they beat them, yeah.
I think that's what's gonna happen. Honestly, we're gonna like split against these two series with the Nationals and the Pirates, and then things are gonna go horribly wrong. And
then again, I think that's because every year we've done that in September, we have made no deadline moves that have said, okay, guys, we need to really compete here in order to make the playoffs. We haven't never done that. This year, if we make that big trade, the team will be like, oh, yes, we actually have to play in these games. We actually have to win. So say by Friday, if you make that trade for Kimbrel, your team's going to be extra motivated to do well against the Pirates. Because you just saw the Mets got kind of beat up by the Pirates this past couple weeks.
Yeah, I again, we'll have to see what happens. What we can't even focus on, the stuff till after the deadline. I mean, you gotta do well against Washington, and then the deadline comes. It's a whole new season.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see.
Yeah. So here's the pitching lineups for the Braves. The Braves Mets series starting tomorrow. We got Moeller versus Stroman, and then we got Wilson, Bry Wilson against a to be determined, probably DeGrom. I think he's coming off the IL tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure on that. Then we got Charlie Morton versus to be determined, and then Wednesday it's Max Fried versus McGill, and then for next Thursday it's Drew Smiley versus Taijuan Walker, and then that's it for the Braves. And the Braves, I'm hoping they win 3 out of 2 against the Mets.
That's the ideal one.
That's the ideal ratio. And then the Phillies win 3 out of 4, or possibly even 4 out of 4 from the Washington Nationals.
You're set if you do that.
Yes.
You're absolutely set.
I believe, if my math, I'm horrible at this. So if the Phillies win the next 4 games, they'll be 53 and 49. If the Mets go 2 for 3, they'll be 54 and 47. I think that's 1.5 games back, if I'm right.
So
they'll be tied on. So yeah, the Phillies would be 1 back in the win column and 2 games back in the loss column. So that's 1.5. And then the Braves would be 51 and 51. So they'll be at 500. And the Nationals are right now are 45 and 53. They're 8 games back.
Well, but to make that happen, hitting needs to come back because we can't rely on Matt Moore pitching or Vince Velasquez pitching. Yeah, the bats need to come back, especially those of Hoskins, Harper, and those that need to step up. Real Muto needs to hit some more home runs because that's been in a lull this year. Mm-hmm. My fantasy team's not doing good because of that. Come on, JT. I need money. And guys really need to step up. Like Segura's done a good job stepping up this year. I need him to keep continuing, and maybe even a bench piece like Matt Miller. Not Matt Miller. God, Brad Miller can hit some doubles, some dingers as well, stuff like that.
Yeah, just gotta. Yeah, just totally agree with that. It's just very interesting just to think the Phillies have so many options to go to this trade deadline.
But they can also come with thorns, right?
Yes, exactly.
Because what if that guy decides not to stay after a 1-year contract?
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge thorn that you gave away pieces to get this guy, and he goes and leaves. The thing you need to do and make clear if you're Middleton and Dombrowski, because I know Middleton has a thing and everything, is like, look, if you're coming here, you're choosing to stay in Philadelphia for a good amount of time. With you, we will have a great chance to contend, win games, and be in the playoffs, and we will give you money, but you need to stay. You cannot leave.
And I think that should be shown. If they say trade for, I don't know, it's possible. They say Trevor Story and Chris Bryant off the top of my head and Starling Marte. If you go to the playoffs and show promise, they will want to stay with your club because they're like, okay, this team, if we have a full season like this, will definitely be better. This is one of those things you just got to think that your performance throughout the rest of the year after you trade has a great deal on if they stay or not.
Yeah, and especially with a guy like Story, you need to show him that you have potential because obviously the Rockies are like, we got nothing, and Story's like, all right, cool, I'm out.
Bye.
So it'll be the same exact way because look, switching off Story for a sec, Byron Buxton denied an $80 million contract. It's pretty good amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
I would have taken the money.
Especially with his injury career, I would take the guaranteed money because there's a possibility that something may or may not happen to your career and you won't be able to.
Right. Like, for him not to take that money from Minnesota is concerning that if a team doesn't do well and pays him, then he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll choose somewhere else that will pay him the guaranteed buck and more of it.
Yeah. I still think that the Phillies' guaranteed person they should definitely get at the trade deadline should be Starling Marte. A very cheap person to get. You'll just probably have to trade Ramon Rosso and probably Johan Rojas for Starling Marte. Johan Rojas has a very high ceiling. He's our Acuna. He's kind of shown his potential, has not really put it together yet. We have a crowded outfield prospect pool. Yahiel and Ortiz hit another home run today. He had 2 home run games the past couple days. So it's a very, very weird situation here for the
You
Phillies.
say we have the next Acuna, but we had 2 of the greatest home run hitters in the minor league in Dylan Cousins and Reese Hoskins. Sometimes those things just don't pan out. But to get Marte, he's older. And my only concern is Bryce Harper's here for 13 years, 10 after this year. And he's getting older, and is he going to be enough to really, push Bryce for a playoff contention throughout the years? Because at some point he's going to retire, probably earlier. And
Who,
what do we do
Marte?
then? Yeah, Marte.
He's 33, and I'm going off of my MLB The Show career simulation. He stayed at a 90 plus overall until he was 37. Once he
Right.
hit 37, he really took a steep decline. I still think he would be a great addition for at least 2 or 3 years for this team.
Yeah,
Then
but
he'll probably leave.
yeah, it's just weird because again, I would have taken him if he was like in a heartbeat if he was 3-4 years younger.
Yeah, agreed. If he was 31,
I would even go
yeah.
as far as 30. I would be fine with that. But I don't know. I'm a little puzzled what we're gonna do here. Again, my realistic scenario is that we do nothing and do stuff in the off season, which is sad, but I think could
It's
happen.
sad to think about, but then again, that is an open option. But for how much has been talked about, Dave Dombrowski saying we will go out and will go over, I don't think we can wait on that. We will have to get something. We are not going to go stand pat in this line. I will think if we win tomorrow with who's pitching tomorrow, Spencer Howard, and he shows that great promise, there's a possibility some teams might be like, okay, maybe we'll trade you this guy, just only for Spencer Howard. You never know.
It's one start though. He shows promise, but he needs to again figure his stuff
It's
out.
sadly starting to look like Spencer Howard's to be more of a reliever due to his stamina issues. But like, it's a very confusing thing with Howard. You can kind of get like 5 half and half kind of on him.
Right. I'm honestly not sure. There's so many broken pieces that we need to bandage that it makes it hard to contend this year, especially even just with the trade deadline alone. There's just so many things that are messed up.
Yeah, just totally agree with that. Um,
And that is the fault of John Milton and Matt Clintack. Dabrowski's just trying to, wound things, bandage them up. Not wound them, but bandage them up.
yeah, yeah, totally agree with that. So, in the end, if I were to give you the choices of this is our like huge imaginary things. These are not gonna happen. Josh Donaldson, Buxton, and Barrios from the Minnesota Twins, or Kimbrel, Hendricks, or Bryant from the Cubs. Which would you take? The Twins or the Cubs offer?
I would take the Twins because all those guys in the Cubs are getting older. I would take the Twins offer, even though that is so close. I can't even.
Yeah, it is very tough to decide on with between all of those.
Are we seeing an Alec Eskin sighting?
Possibly if we continue to talk for 15 more minutes.
Dude, we've been going on for an hour. We can manage 15 more minutes.
We still have to talk about some other things. We've been talking about the Phillies.
Yeah, we have half our podcast to go.
This is gonna be a long one. I'm just trying to send Alex something so he can actually join the podcast, but I can't find it in my thing, so that's very interesting. So that's
Well, you mean the login info? I can get them.
yeah. Can you send him over that
Yippers.
454? Thank you. So moving on, I'm gonna stay on the Phillies real quick.
Mhm.
If the Phillies, after all this talk, if we have another thing where it says the Phillies are really reportedly close to this blah 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 player, and we end up getting Matthew Boyd from the Tigers in the end, I'm gonna be really mad. I kind of got mad at the Lowry thing, saying we're on the 1 yard line, and that's gonna be everything. But
What you think we're gonna like Russell Wilson, this Pete Carroll it?
I think, but I really hope for the Phillies. This is the most promising team I've seen in the past couple years, and
Well, for the last 10 years, we've been seeing nothing but garbage. Do you remember Ty Wigington?
oh god,
Ty
don't get me
Wigington,
started.
yeah.
I wouldn't get-
Um, the Vargas dude from the Mets.
Oh god,
Yeah, we've been seeing nothing but garbage. I mean, this is the one team that like we see stars on, and it's phenomenal.
yeah, we've been waiting forever to have a star trade. When was the last star trade, in your opinion, that the Phillies have
my
made?
God. Well, first of all, I'm gonna stray away for 1 second. There was an international prospect we signed a while back that was supposed to be the next big thing, and I was so excited. I was on vacation and I heard we signed him. I was so excited. It turned out to be Michael Franco. We can see how that turned out. I don't know the last star trade we had. Um, man, I guess the last like trade that we got someone notable. Hmm. I can't think of it.
Yeah,
Probably a Struble Cabrera.
the best. Wilson Ramos was good in his tiny
Oh,
time here.
oh yeah. But like, dude, like there was a time, Mitchell, and I just mentioned this while you were off mic. There was an international signing that was so big at one point, and I heard about it on vacation. I was so excited to get him. It was Michael Franco.
He was decent, but
No,
not
but he
that
was supposed
superstar potential. Yeah, exactly.
he was supposed to be the next big thing. That was the point we were at, that we were putting faith in Michael Franco. I mean, there's so many bad teams. I don't know the last time we've got a really big star trade.
Um,
Marlon Bird?
you can even save Cole Hamels. That trade didn't work out.
No, but like
Roy Halladay.
again,
No, was he free agency or was he a trade?
I'm not sure, but maybe a guy like Marlon Bird,
Let me look up list of Phillies.
Placido Polanco. I'm not sure.
Let me look up Phillies history of Phillies trades. Let me look.
I'm thinking it should be Marlon Bird is the one that I'm thinking of for the last star trade.
Is this more recent? Yes, this is more recent. So this website only goes up to 2015, but I'm just gonna start here. Jimmy Rollins for Zach Eflin and Thomas Wendell. That was a
But
decent trade.
that's not a star
It's not
trade.
a star trade, exactly. John Mayberry.
He was
God.
legit.
Yeah.
I was just telling a story the other day. I was at a Sixers game once upon a time, and there was a celebrity who was sitting right behind me, and I didn't notice. And he was a Philly star at the time. And if you remember this name, you're a true one. Dominic Brown. Yeah, this is where the point where we're at, where we're rooting for Dominic Brown to hit 20 plus home runs and then completely fall off the wagon. Like, honestly, like we should be thankful for where we're at right now. We're gonna improve, which is great. There's so much potential that we're not going back to Dominic Brown. And thank God for that.
Yeah. But for what this team has gone, we've been waiting for 10 years. This team deserves to at least show some signs of going after. We haven't gone over I think, are we the only team not to go over the luxury tax in our history? There's got to be another team.
Apparently, the Yankees can just make up American currency as they go. They have a printer, so maybe, I don't know. I bet they've gone over the luxury tax, and I guess they ran out of paper when making their money.
Some of these trades I didn't even know we did. Hunter Pence for
That's the
Tommy
one.
Joseph,
That's the last trade we did for a star.
Tommy
100%.
Joseph, Seth Rosen, and Nate Sherholtz. Then we traded Jim Thome to the Orioles. Whoa.
Yes.
He was on the team until 2012. Interesting.
Yeah, that's the last star trade we did. That was the name I was thinking
With a
of.
start, yeah.
Hunter Pence. That was it.
But like for a star player that we got in return, though, I guess the Hunter Pence trade.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like Hunter Pence here and Hunter Pence away. That's
yeah. I remember Nate Sherholtz. Oh my god. Oh, there was a guy named like Ashby or something. If you remember that.
Oh yeah.
Even the guy on the radio, Kevin Franson.
Mm.
Those are all names that were like big names back then because we had nobody.
This is a star. I would say this would be a pretty star trade. We received Ben Francisco and Cliff Lee for Carlos Carrasco, Jason Donald, Jason Knapp, and Lou Marson. I would say that would be like the last trade we've won.
Yeah, well.
And again, we did trade Cliff Lee later that year for Felipe Amont, JC Ramirez, and Tyson Gillis. So
I saw Felipe Amont recently.
Oh, we had Travis. The Roy Halladay trade and then Roy Oswalt. Look at this. For Roy Halladay, we traded Kyle Darback, Travis Darno, and Michael Taylor for cash and Roy Halladay. Then we traded Anthony Ghost, Jay Happ, and Jonathan VR for Roy Oswalt and cash.
So funny story. I saw Felipe Amont recently in the minor leagues, and he closed out the Iron Pigs. There was a guy in that game that I caught a foul ball in that game, by the way. There was a guy in that game who had the longest name of baseball and retired that year.
Saltalamacchia, right?
Saltalamacchia. Man, I was just thinking. I mean, yeah, wasn't there a guy named like Cody Ashby?
Cody Ashe. Cody Ashe.
Cody Ashe. That's the one. That we had names like him. Kevin Franson on WIP. He played. I mean, no insult to Kevin Franson. He's a great broadcaster now. These guys were garbage. Honestly, like they couldn't play. They couldn't hold up a team. So again, be thankful for where we're at.
How about Tadihito Aguchi? What happened to him?
Oh my gosh, that is a name that I remember. There was a guy named So Taguchi.
Yeah.
Who else? Jeff Jenkins. Man, there's a lot of. I remember these like meaningless names. Eric Bruntlett, Chris Coast. That was the 2008 team. But I don't remember too many people after that.
Yeah. No, everybody's making fun of because this one PHL Phillies Nation just tweeted saying for Jal Ortiz he would look great in a Cubs uniform, and like this one guy commented, Phillies fans, we never develop good prospects. Phillies develop a good prospect. Phillies fans trade him immediately.
That's facts, but a lot of prospects don't pan out. Like taking a look at the earlier example. Dylan Cousins and Rhys Hoskins were in a home run battle in Reading like we've never seen. I mean, like 30 and 28, where I think Cousins won that home run battle.
I think so.
And then
the Phillies went with Hoskins though.
Well, that's because Cousins turned out to be complete garbage. But yeah, some prospects work, some don't. It can be one out of two. And actually, I think the things we traded Utley for, they never made it past AAA.
I think you may be right. Chase Utley.
They don't. I didn't think they made it past AAA. I think Rollins we got Eflin for.
I still find it hilarious every time I play MLB The Show. Nick Williams is still a 90 rated overall player, and like even though he still hasn't.
That's another name I would wish never to hear again. Nick Williams, Aaron Altair, Ben Revere.
Darnell Sweeney, and John Ritchie.
No, I don't think they did. Yeah, I don't think they made it past AAA. And again, like even the 2008 pick that was supposed to be hyped up, Sean Collier, I saw him recently play in the Atlantic League. He didn't make it past AAA. I mean, there's a lot of failures in the Phillies organization. It's unreal.
It really is. So before we are blessed with Mr. Eskin's appearance, might as well get the Philadelphia Flyers out of the way. Philadelphia Flyers. Yeah. Philadelphia Flyers have made 4 trades over the past 8 days. They have removed Ghost. They removed Robert Haig. They have removed Nolan Patrick. They have removed a couple other players. But the one trade that stood out, we were all going to be burning down Chuck Fletcher's house after the Risto Ryan trade. We gave up a first-round pick for somebody who wasn't really good. Then again, he could have the Buffalo curse. Nobody does well in Buffalo. But we traded for Cam Atkinson. Cam Atkinson is the same type of player of Jake Voracek. However, he has more consistency, and he has a cheaper contract. I believe that was a great trade, and I can't wait to see him. The Flyers still need to add a goaltender. They might still go after a couple more people when free agency begins. They still have a couple more pieces to trade. James JVR is still a great piece to trade. See how that goes. But the Flyers are looking like they'll be a pretty good team this year. Now, as we wait for Howard Eskin's, Alec Eskin's appearance here.
I'll bless you with the story while we wait for Alec. And it's actually about a guy who was traded from the Flyers very recently. I was at the Frozen Four. And if you know what that is, it's the NCAA Final Four. And yeah, there was a game, I think it was between North Dakota, which no one cares about, and a very small college from New York called Union College. And in hockey, the draft comes before the Frozen Four, so you already know where you're going. And there was a guy who was going to the Flyers, and he played like anybody I've ever seen. His name was Shane Gostisbehere. Sad to see him go. I thought he would have been, I wanted to see more of him.
Yeah. Sadly fell out of favor, and his contract needed to be shed.
Yeah, and Jacob Voracek, I mean, he's been around here forever, along with Couturier and Giroux. I mean, how old's Giroux? Because it feels like he should have been in retirement by now.
Giroux still going strong at. Claude Giroux is 20. Nope, 33.
I was gonna say if he's 20, I must have been, he must have been 9 when I was 5.
Mm-hmm.
But all aside, jokingly, I mean, I don't know what the Flyers had no effort last year. That's the one thing I can notice. I'm not a hockey guy. I'll watch hockey and playoff hockey, and I'll go there. They had no effort on the ice. That's not the spirit of the Broad Street Bullies. And we need guys like, Wayne Simmons. He was not like the best player, but he would put people against the boards. He would fight. He would do so many things that would intimidate opposing players to give up the puck. And I think we need more of that.
Yeah. Cam Atkinson's going to be that player. In his press conference, he literally said that he knows Philly expects a lot, and he really expects that they would want to see energy on the ice. And he says, I'm coming there, and I'm going to bring my energy to make sure the fans are intrigued every night, day in and day out. And I think that's like a perfect way to start off your Flyers career.
Yeah, there was a guy once upon a time. I think his name was Ronaldo or something like that. Not Ronaldo. I think
I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, I gotta look him up. But this guy was an absolute fighter. I mean, I love the guy, not because he was any good, but a guy that could literally put some effort in on the ice. And then if someone got knocked down, they would send him out and say, all right, go fight him. Let me look up his name real quick. Nope, that's a 3rd grade teacher. Hockey. But yeah, anyway, there was a guy, can't come up with his name. I thought it was somewhere close to Ronaldo or Renato or something like that. He was just an absolute fighter as we wait for Mr. Eskin to come on.
Yeah. apparently on this day in 2015, Cole Hamels threw his last game for the Phillies, and that was a no-hitter against the Chicago Cubs. Cole Hamels also said today that he has not received any offers from any MLB teams that he has found interesting, and will still continue, to continue his arm buildup towards becoming back to a normal starter in the major league. Also on this day, Phillies newspapers were talking about the guy we just mentioned, Hunter Pence, possibly being traded to the Phillies, and then in the end, he was.
Found him. I found him. It was Zach Ronaldo. I completely botched that name, but dude, this dude was like 5'11". He's 31 now, but like when he was really younger, I mean, this guy could absolutely pack a punch.
Yeah, totally agree.
Do you even know who the guy is? If you agree, did I catch you?
I heard his name before, and I knew he was a fighter. Like I didn't know if he was like,
yeah.
Is he on a team anymore, or is he?
No, he's I think he's retired now. No, I think even a guy as horrible of a human being as he is, like a Tom Wilson would have been fun here.
Oh yeah, God, yeah, he would be.
He would have been adored here, as much as like a bad human on the ice as he is. Like he would have been adored here.
He would have. And speaking of the Mr. Eskin making his appearance on the show after flying in from Cincinnati, we got Alec Eskin outside the Philadelphia airport. Just kidding. There he is.
How was your flight, Mr. Eskin?
Mr. Eskin is muted. There oh, wait, no. He's gone. Okay.
He's holding up the 1 minute finger.
Look at this man wearing his Cincinnati Reds hat because he went into a game.
He went to both Ohio games. He went to Cleveland too, and there he goes.
And he's gone.
But yes, to get backstory, I think he was both at Progressive Field and he was also at Great American Ballpark.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome, great. So what have I missed so far?
A lot of rambling about the Sixers and the Phillies. That's
Lots of rambling about nothing. That was a very good portion of the show.
I'm eating a pizza. I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah, I suppose it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, God can win today. I was watching at the let's call it the Kentucky airport. That game at North pitched really well today. I was impressed. Nice bounce back win after scuffling for a little bit, but again, gotta keep it consistent. And now hopefully we can get some help. Hopefully our general manager can come through.
Yeah. But let me ask you a question, Alec. Wouldn't this game also be a part of better be lucky than good because both of your runs came out of solo shots, even though we've been struggling with hitting?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's again a little lucky, but again, the offense has been struggling. But this is what you expect out of the Phillies. Sometimes they'll do really well, and sometimes they'll struggle. When they struggle, you gotta rely on your pitching to get more. To get the wins, and that's exactly what happened today, and that's why the Phillies wanted the Braves, and now they're only 4 games back still. But the thing is, they distanced themselves from the Nationals now, are now 8 games back after I believe they got swept by the Orioles.
Yeah. And I'll let you finish chewing, Mitchell, as I bring this point across. We were talking about this earlier in the episode. This is one thing you did miss, is you need to get hitting back because you can't be relying on guys on a day like Matt Moore or Vince Velasquez. I mean, you can't be relying on that or you're going to lose games. Like that Thursday matchup between Velasquez and Scherzer could be an absolute nightmare if they're still on their respective teams.
Absolutely. I mean, you've also got a couple of Nationals who are going to be who can potentially be silent Scherzer too. I mean, I don't think the players would get him because he's probably cost a lot, but again, I think I could see him selling off Scherzer, getting a lot of prospects in return for him. And then Phillies wise, you got to find a way to get a starter. You'll get Eflin back, and then other starts so you don't have to deal with more Velasquez anymore.
Mitchell, do you want to bring up the Twins trade that we talked about with Mr. Eskin?
What was it again?
So
It's been
okay,
forever.
I'll refresh your memory. So it's Byron Buxton, Jose Barrios, and there is a relief pitcher I really like named Caleb Thielbar. That would be going to the Phillies for a load of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me a little more about Caleb Fieldbar. I've never heard of him before, but you guys really seem to like him.
Yeah, so I found him in an article today. I think he's a Twins reliever piece that they're looking to ship out, and I think the Phillies have been linked to him. And if you can get the, I may have been pronouncing his name wrong because I'm like horrible at English and everything else with the English language. But there's pieces for upload of in the process and stuff like that. Would you be something that you would be happy with if Buxton were to stay in Philly for a longer term?
I would say yes. He's a special player. He's really, really good, very athletic. Can hit, can field, can do everything you ask him. But the problem is that he can't hit. Is that he can't stay healthy. And that's again when Philadelphia we know how that stuff often works out.
You're gonna have like a Ryan Howard situation where he's jogging to first and just blows out his Achilles.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah. Mitchell, are we gonna go into the the Eagles or something?
I have one last thing to ask Alec. So Alec,
Okay.
you can just nod your head yes or no. It looks like he's getting on a bus or something. But and he's gone. Okay, so while Alec is figuring out his situation, Alec, so we were talking, and since you're at the airport, which player would you rather pick up at the airport, say in a couple days? Chris Bryant or Byron Buxton, along with the respective like other pieces.
Hold up one finger for Bryant and two for Buxton.
He's thinking very hard about the situation. Byron Buxton.
Okay. All right, I'll take that. I agree with him. I agree.
I would, because then again, a lot of people are saying Bohm. Bohm, I project as a long-term first baseman or DH. His defense is not good anymore. But it's going to be a very interesting situation what happens in the next couple of years with this franchise, but more importantly, what comes in the coming days. We'll keep you guys updated. We will probably have an emergency podcast on Wednesday to go over the trade deadline before Friday, 4 p.m., and as well as if any moves are made beforehand. So keep an eye out for that. Now let's transition into our final team of discussion today, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles today signed cornerback Steven Nelson, I believe his name, from Pittsburgh. From the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was on a 1-year, $4 million contract. This is a great move, in my opinion. He will be the starter along with Darius Slay. And I think this kind of means that the Eagles are in a great position to at least succeed a little bit. I don't think they'll win the the NFC East, but I still think they'll do okay.
Well, taking a look at the Steven Nelson piece, I mean, you can't be having well. First of all, Cravon LeBlanc is gone. That's the first piece because he's now in Miami. The second piece is that Jaquette dude that played against Dallas. Yeah, you can never let him see the light of field again. So what you need to do is quarterback help. And in all seriousness, if that guy plays again, I will tear all my hair out and eat it as soup. That is how frustrated I was with that Jaquette dude. But no, I think he's a great help, and I think he gets the vibe of the city because did you see his tweet, Mitchell?
Mm-hmm.
About the whole Dallas Cowboys situation?
Yeah. He'll fit right in.
He'll fit right in. I think he'll get the vibe of the city because, again, another concern with people from Philadelphia is they can't handle the pressure. It can't handle the city. And I think he's going to be handling it okay. And I think he's going to be a big help to Slay because, Slay can't cover all these people alone. Look at the DK Metcalf. People change his Wikipedia bio. So I think he'll be a big help in the organization.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm still thinking the Eagles, as long as they beat Tom Brady at home in September or October, whenever that game is, and they beat him by a lot, I don't care.
Well,
And
remember also, that they're playing Kansas City. I think a week before or a couple weeks before at home as well.
it's going to be an interesting. I would love to see that. Let me look up the Eagles schedule again. Do a quick run it
So,
through.
I can. So I will give you the weeks I'm going, and then you have to see who it is. Okay, Mitchell.
Got it.
This is gonna be a game.
All right,
It
go.
should be week 4.
Week 4 is the Chiefs. You are correct in that statement.
Okay, so I'm going to the Chiefs. Now here's a little twister. 7.
5, 6. Wait. Oh, you're going to Vegas. That's right.
I am going to Vegas to see the Eagles play the Raiders. 15.
That's 2 games. The Giants. December
No,
26th. Day after Christmas.
never mind. A couple weeks before that.
The Jets. No, wait.
No,
The Washington football team.
that's it.
Yeah, so that's
those are
week.
the games that.
So that's week 14. Yeah.
Yeah, out of those games, I would expect to win 1 out of 3, maybe 0 out of 3, because this Eagles team is such in a bad position. I did that game thing for a reason, because for every 3 games, I think the Eagles will win 1.
So I'm just gonna speed through this real quick. Against the Falcons, I believe the Eagles will win. They'll probably beat the 49ers. They'll beat the Cowboys. So I think they'll start off 3-0. And then they'll lose to the Chiefs in a tough game. I think they beat the Panthers. So I think they'll start off 3-1. They'll beat Tom Brady at home because I hate Tom Brady. And so that's 4-1 then. And then we lose, and then we beat the Raiders. So that's 6-1. Such a great start to the season. Then we beat the Lions and Jared Goff. That's 7-1. And then we lose to Justin Herbert, so that's 7-2. Unfortunate, I know. We lose to Aaron Rodgers, the new quarterback of the Denver Broncos. So that's 7-3. We'll lose to the
Wait,
Saints.
was that confirmed?
No. There's rumors that
I was
he'll
gonna say.
retire. Nobody knows what's going on. But I think we'll be 7-4. We'll beat the Giants because I hate the Giants also. So 8-4. We'll lose to the Jets. We'll lose to the Washington football team. We'll beat the Giants again. We'll lose to the Washington football team, and we'll beat the Cowboys. So I think we're gonna finish the season 9-8. What a great, great season, everybody.
Yeah, I bet Mr. Eskin will be pessimistic about that. Can you give me a nod if you're going to be pessimistic about the Eagles? Listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all knew this coming in that Alec is going to be an absolute pessimist about the Eagles, and so will I. We will be joining in our pessimism or whatever it is.
One final topic of discussion before we move on, unless Alex, you looks like you were going to say something. I guess not then. Okay.
I think we'll go 6-11.
6-1. Interesting.
6-11.
Oh, I was like, wait a minute.
I was actually saying 6-11 as well. I agree with him. See, we share the same values about the Eagles.
So one last topic of discussion. Would you trade for Deshaun Watson?
No. All right, end the show.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it either. I don't like the fact that we're even
everyone.
Yeah,
we're too
enough for
broken.
me.
Yeah, so this has been episode 21 of the Liberty for Philly podcast. And on that note, we appreciate you guys stopping by. This is a very long episode. It probably might be split into 2 parts, so keep an eye out for that. If not, you're going to enjoy 2 hours of rambling. So on that note, Ben?
If by the way, just our little closing things. I'm enjoying my Alex Carr follow. I'm anticipating that. Shout out to Alex Carr, who will be following me in the near future because of my predictions. 2, is that if you watch the whole episode, props to you. You should go, get off the couch or something. Maybe do something.
And then also, yeah, so make sure you drop a follow to us on Twitter. Also, leave a like, subscribe. And also, once again, welcome Ben to the officially being a member of the Liberty for Philly podcast.
Happy to be here.
Yep. That has been episode 21 of the Liberty for Philly podcast. Once again, thank you, Alec, for joining us, our field reporter at PHL. Yeah.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay. And then, yeah,
We have
hopefully on
some.
Wednesday. Wait, yeah, you go first.
We have summoned. Oh yeah, we have summoned Alec's former Chick-fil-A job at the Philadelphia International Airport by him saying "my pleasure."
Yeah. I'm not working there anymore. I'll save for you guys, but for no one else.
You better stay there and pick up Chris Bryant or Byron Buxton whenever they land, okay? Or Damian Lillard.
Hopefully within the next hour.
Sounds good. Well, that has once again continuing with the thing. Episode 21 of the Liberty for Philcast. See you guys. Special episode this week with the trade deadline. Hopefully something happens before then. Leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think. Once again, welcome Ben officially to the podcast. And Alec, thank you guys once again for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.